Hi, I'm Mehul. In this video, you're going to meet Mike Palgon, who works for a healthcare information technology consulting firm. And he's going to show you a visually stunning website he's built with DevExpress DX2 products. Now, I met Mike at a recent conference where he came up to me and he was so excited to show me what he's built. And I was amazed because he has leveraged all of the DevExpress ASP.NET products, everything from the grid view to the charts and gauges, as well as a couple of themes to come up with a very interesting minimalist design that makes the website really stand out. So let's check it out. Now, Mike, you've created this very interesting website and actually a very good looking website. So can you talk a little bit about what this website is and why you developed it?
Sure. This web application is for our company's internal use. I work for a company called HIMformatics, and we're a healthcare information technology consulting firm. And we do consulting for healthcare organizations around the country. And our firm is mainly made up of consultants that are pretty autonomous and they have their own clients and projects. And we needed a way for the consultants. One, there are really two aspects of it. One is to manage the resources, which are the consultants themselves, in terms of forecasting. We need to know when somebody's working on a project and what project they're working on and when they're available. And the second main purpose of the web application is to manage expenses. Our consultants incur company expenses, HIMformatics expenses, and also expenses on behalf of the clients. And we need to be able to track those and manage them to make sure that the consultants get reimbursed and the clients are invoiced properly for those expenses.
Because this is an internal website, it's probably not prudent to show the actual data, right?
I'm running it on localhost because our live site, we don't want to show the live data just for privacy reasons. And we have a test or demo site, but we're in the middle of a testing phase right now. And so I don't want to use that particular site. So I have all our test data loaded on my local machine, and we're just going to run it from there.
Excellent, excellent. All right, well, I'll let you take the reins there. So can you show us a little bit about the website?
Sure. I'll log in as a user here.
By the way, as you're logging in there, why call it HIMformatics? Is there any meaning behind the name, or is that the name of the company?
Well, it's a mix. I believe it's a mix of HIM is healthcare information management, and then healthcare data is called medical informatics. So I think they combined it to be HIMformatics.
I got you.
That was before my time, but that's how I think it came about.
Well, so my first impression when I look at this, it's a very clean looking website. You've got like some right away, the charts right there are in your face, and they're very good looking. And so can you explain first of all a little bit behind what we're looking at here?
Sure. When one of the consultants logs in, this is what they get. This is basically their portal homepage. And they're good looking because they're all DevExpress controls. And
well, thank you.
So first we have a forecast summary. And this shows the forecast 12 weeks out with each of the projects that they're going to be working on over the next 12 weeks. And also, we forecast based on how many days per week somebody is busy working. So on that bar chart, you can see on the left, the y-axis goes from 0 to 5. And on the x-axis, it's each week.
Okay.
So, and then this is actually the DevExpress bar chart in stacked bar mode, so you can see which project they're working on which week, and the proportional bars are stacked based on the number of days they're working on that project for that week. One thing I liked about this control, once you read the documentation on how to use this control, it really makes a lot of sense. It's easy to customize, and typically this type of control is used for financial data. But we're not using it for anything financial here, and it was simple to use and really gets its message across at a glance. And then also it was really customizable on that chart at 5 days at the top. You can see there's a dashed green line, and I wanted a line there because that's really everyone's goal, is to be busy 5 days per week. So that just shows that if all of your forecast is up to 5 days a week, then you're going to be pretty busy.
Yes. And by the way, I really want to underscore that point you made, that, charts are not just for, let's say, anything particular in terms of financial or so forth. When you want to tell a good story, as they say, a picture says a lot more than simple data could, right? And that's why I'm really impressed that you've leveraged this to show projects and days for the team.
Thanks. And then I was also able to do some mouse overs here, which I really like, to show what each project is.
Wow, nice, nice.
This is something. This is in one of the development notes I found, one of the articles on the website, and I think you might have done this one. I'm not sure, but this I love how this turns out. It's just really slick and pretty clean.
Yeah, it might have been our charting evangelist Brian, and I'll let him know. He'll be excited to see that. So what else is happening on this page here? So we've got the forecast summary and then something called expense summary.
Right. So these are all the expenses this is just a summary of expenses that a consultant would have submitted in the last 30 days. Just so when they go to their homepage, they can see what the status is. They can see it's submitted. If it's already been paid, it'll say paid. And that's all they're really concerned about, whether they've been paid back or not, or whether it's been reviewed. So the statuses it can show is submitted, reviewed, or approved, and paid. So it just gives them a sort of an at-a-glance view of this.
That looks suspiciously like our ASPX grid view.
It is.
And so what is your backend for all of this stuff?
It's all SQL Server.
Excellent. Okay. Now, how did you make the decision to go, first of all, DevExpress ASP.NET?
Well, my background, I guess, is in ASP.NET, so I wanted to do it on that platform. And DevExpress, I had done another project before I started using third-party controls. I was using the standard Microsoft controls, and I had to use a Microsoft grid, to do some inline editing and creating a questionnaire, and it was a lot of work. So when I started another phase of that prior project, I started looking for easier ways to do what I needed to do, because I knew there had to be a better way. And I was looking through Visual Studio magazine and all the big ads in there. And so I looked at them all, and when I looked at DevExpress, it really just kind of clicked for me. It had everything I needed. I checked out the demos on the site, and the demos are great, and they show you the source code, and it seemed very straightforward. It just kind of clicked with me that I understand how to use these controls and how they can save me time. And then I checked out the forums, the support forums, and I was surprised how many people. It wasn't just a bunch of complaining. It was people asking questions, people getting answers, and then people really happy about the answers they were getting. So that really sold me.
Wow, no, that's great feedback. Now I got to ask you, do you have some inclinations for design, website design?
I put some thought into the design, but I'm not a website designer.
Okay, well, let's talk about that, right? Because I've seen a lot of, internet sites, websites and so forth where, for example, here, it's not a complicated page, but there's definitely thought put into it. So you've got a menu, and I like that, you reaffirm that with another way to say home at the top, and then just even sort of the great background on the forecast summary, the expense summary, to kind of section it off, but it's not sort of in your face, right? And the color scheme seems to match. So that tells me that, maybe some designer, or maybe you just have a good inclination towards it, but it feels like a light, clean page without, it's not busy, and it gives you the information you need. So that's one of the first things that impressed me when I first saw the screenshots from your website. And yeah, absolutely. And so how did you arrive to that? I mean, did you read something? I mean, what was your sort of, if you can give some other developers some insight into your thought process?
Well, I did design this myself, and I knew I wanted something very clean, not just in anything I design. I like very clean and kind of crisp looking. And my process is I mock up first. I use a mock-up tool. I use balsamic mock-ups. And so I mocked up how I wanted it to look, and then I started looking at which DevExpress controls are going to fit my needs, and then you have all the built-in themes, and you have a theme for just about anything. So I decided that I was going to use a combination of two of your themes, and one is the DevEx theme, which the grid view here is DevEx theme, and then the menu is the plastic blue theme. And I thought they went together really well, um, and just created a good look together.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, no, I'll have to tell the team that. That's actually a great way you noticed that the plastic blue and the Devex style go together. Now, I'll let you continue. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I know there's a lot more going on to this website besides what you just got on the home screen. Can you show us a little bit more about what's happening on this website?
Sure. Let me just show you one more thing on this page. Um, the our management requires that all the consultants and everyone in the company updates their forecast every 2 weeks. But we didn't want to make it cumbersome for people to go in and have to go to the forecast page and click a bunch of buttons. So we came up with the idea of this confirm current forecast link. And so you can just log into your home page, click this, and we get a little message here that your forecast has been confirmed, and then this date over here is updated. So it's really easy, and I was able to do that with callbacks. It was super
Wow,
simple.
that is really slick.
DevExpress callbacks. So
Yeah, no, I'm impressed.
thanks. Um, so I'll first cover the forecast page because that's one of the major components of this application, and that's providing the ability for the consultants to manage their own forecast and for the management to view it. So when a consultant goes to their forecast page, they see every client that they're working for and every project they're working on. And there's a 12-week view, 12-week window of how many days in that week they're going to be working on that project. And um, you can see here I just use just pretty flat colors, green, yellow, and red. So just as a glance of the total number of days per week they're going to be working. So just going to this page, I can see that, starting in about a month, I'm going to need some more work, and starting in 2 months, I'm definitely going to need some more work. And so I'm open for that. Um, so one of the biggest things was making it easy for consultants to enter their forecast, because nobody likes to do that. It's kind of like a timesheet, except you haven't even put in the time yet. So I wanted to make it super simple. So I came up with two different ways to do it. First is an inline edit mode. So I used a custom command button in the SPX grid view.
Nice.
So I can just click on quick edit, and in here I can just enter how many days per week I'm going to be working on these projects and update it that way. So it was really simple to
Nice.
update.
I am impressed.
And people love that. I've gotten really good positive feedback on that particular feature alone, because the older system we were using, it worked great when we were a smaller company, but as we grew, it became more and more cumbersome to do this. So the other mode for editing a forecast is what I would call a full edit. So this pops up a whole window, and these are all DevExpress controls. This is the calendar control, and so it has the person's name and this particular project. And this, if you want to say, you're going to be working on a project for 3 months, you can click a start date, and then you come all the way over here and click an end date.
Nice.
Thanks. And you can see here, it shows you selected 11 weeks, and maybe I'm going to be working on this project, for 2 days, all 11 weeks. And then I just click update, and it'll update the whole schedule. And this uses a combination of callbacks and callback panel. And one thing that I used, one thing I wanted to point out was, I said previously how we forecast based on number of days per week. So we don't have really partial weeks. So if you see here, every time I select any day during the week, it selects the entire week. It'll automatically select it. And that's something that I was able to do with the API to this calendar control, which was great. Because then I was able to restrict. I didn't have to rely on the users to select an entire week. I could let them select any day in the week, and the week itself would automatically be selected.
Wow,
So,
nice.
then the other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to let consultants forecast up to a year in advance. So over on the top right here, I have a drop down, and they can pick any week up to 1 year in advance. So if they want to go and they want to schedule, well, this is just December. but maybe they want to they know they're going to be working on this project for 5 days in December. They can just go do this, and it's updated real easily.
Wow.
And then we can just go back to the beginning. And so that that uses the client side API for the the callback for the ASPX grid view, which is really super simple to use. Then the other thing I do on most of the pages is I have a help pop up like that, just so people can see how to
Very
use, just some clues or some hints about how to use the particular page. And this is the DevEx pop-up control.
Yeah, very nice looking, and it's a great idea too. It's as I said, another nice little design layout where you've got a little question mark, and then when you click it, then it gives you the more info and a very nice little pop up there.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm really impressed. Now, the coloring that you're doing in that is that the status bar or is that the summary bar of the grid view?
On the bottom?
Yeah, is that are you using conditional formatting for that? Essentially, are you saying like if it's within 5 to 7, it's green, or 4 to 3, it's yellow?
Exactly.
I got you. Ah, very nice, very nice. So you're using one of the you've overridden like HTML data row prepared or something like that.
Exactly. That's the exact event I was using.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm really impressed. You've gone through and really leveraged a lot of the examples that are on the DevExpress website.
Yeah, and that's what I like is that the examples are really good. They're simple, but they use so many features of the controls that I can usually figure out what I need to do just from the demos on the site. But if not, the support forums are great, and I can usually find someone else who is trying to do what I needed to do.
Yeah, you know what? I'll let you show off more, and then I got a couple of questions in terms of your overall experience that may be helpful for others. So why don't we go on and maybe you can show some of the other sites. By the way, this was really impressive. I think a lot of people may get the idea to use the inline and call it quick edit as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's slick.
So I'll just go to expenses next. This is another big component of the application. So as I explained before, we have client expenses and we have HIMformatics expenses, and we like to separate those. So this is a list of expenses that this person has submitted in the last 60 days. That's what I default to. Over on the top right here, you can see the drop down, and I have all the different time periods available. I can go to all of them, or I can go for the current month, but I default it to the last 60 days. And then we can also filter by paid expenses or unpaid expenses or just all expenses. Just things that'll be really useful to the consultants when they want to check out the expense status. And then the other thing on the grid, which was that I needed to do, is if someone submits an expense, at some point you have to not let them edit it or not let them delete it, especially after it's been paid or approved. So as you can see here on the right side under this action column, like for this expense here that's been paid, that delete button is missing. And using the events of the ASPX grid view, I'm able to control the button visibility really easily. And the same thing over here. Some of the expenses have edits, so I can go in and edit this particular expense.
That's pretty fast.
It's a pop-up, and
oh, look at that!
it's
Very nice.
dynamically
Is that a
generated.
pop-up edit form?
Really? Form and a pop-up. Yeah, I can show you a little bit of that. So they can edit the expense, or like this expense, since it's been paid, I don't want to let them edit it, but they can view the details of the expense. So this shows gas and hotel, and if there was a subcategory and description.
Nice.
Very
nice.
So on the back end, I wanted to, well, first I'll open up a client expense form, and it's a dynamically generated form based on configured expense categories, which in the portal administration side, I can show you that I used the ASPX tree list to create categories. So a consultant will pick their client, and then it dynamically populates this other combo box with the projects that they're on. And then they can choose an expense date, enter comments. One thing I like is, for example, if say they spent $250 on airfare, and that if there's a subcategory that we require them to select a subcategory. So if they try to submit that, I'm able to customize the error frame just with this red box and let them know what they need to select.
Impressive. Very impressive.
Oh, thanks. I like being able to customize that. I thought it looked better than having, text pop up or a little image, and so I just like that error frame because it's just pretty crisp.
Yeah.
So that's the expense form, and I can do all sorts of things like the miles. This is all done on the client side. Say they went 250 miles, it'll automatically calculate the amount based on the mileage rate. So, and we have the same thing for our internal expenses basically, but we can have different categories. So that's how they submit expenses. I'll move on here. Projects. These are all the projects the person's assigned to, and then they can also show all the projects they're working on.
Oh, wow. Now, are there different views for different roles, or is this only used by a certain set of people?
This particular view?
Well, for example, like, can anybody enter a project, or is it only for, let's say, managers or something like that?
Yeah, only certain people can. So that's what this link, one of my projects isn't listed.
Ah, okay.
It tells them how to make sure you're assigned to the project, because you're allowed to add yourself to a project, but you can't create a new project.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that we can control that. And it says if you want to request a new project be added, click here, and you get another pop-up. And
Very cool. See, that's I like the thought process behind that.
thanks. So and then they just complete this form. If they want to specify it's a new client, they can do that, and they have to enter the new client's name. And then this gets that actually gets emailed to certain people that are subscribed to that notification.
So you've got notifications built right in as well, then.
I do. Yep, I built in a
Excellent.
little, I mean, it's not sophisticated, but it's good enough for what we need for notifications. And I can show you that on the back end.
Yeah, sure.
So if I go to reports, let's see. Let me actually log in as a different person because we have different roles here. Okay, so this person is like a manager, and there's a new section here you can see that have some alerts saying they have certain expenses waiting to be reviewed or invoiced.
Oh, nice.
So they get sort of a work list here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks. So if we go to reports, I have a secondary menu that comes down to choose it's basically subcategories of the menu. And so those are two different styles. One's the plastic blue and one's the DevExpress theme. But I thought they looked good together, and I decided to do it this way instead of a drop-down menu from reports, because we wanted the ability to use this not only on a desktop or laptop, but also from a mobile device. And I thought without having to write a mobile application, I thought it was easier to just have the buttons on the page instead of having to do the drop downs on a mobile device.
Mm-hmm. All right. So first of all, are you telling me that you've got this working on the iPad?
Oh yeah, it'll work on an iPad.
That's impressive. Mainly because, right now, I know a lot of our ASP.NET stuff works on the iPad. We don't officially support it, and I think you hit the nail on the head. That's a very smart decision to not do the drop downs, because it can get a little dicey, and so I think that's a smart way to attack both the website and the mobile website. Because scrolling is a little bit weird on some of those tablet devices and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It's worked well. Our CEO is a big iPad user, so it was a
got to impress the CEO. That's smart. Yes.
So here we have reports, and I'll go to the forecast report, and this uses the ASPX pivot grid.
Oh, look at that.
So this gives you a view of everybody's forecast in the company using the pivot grid. And also, this is also I think it's a 12-week outlook. You can change the starting week up here just like we could before. But this lets you drill down. So I can go to Percy Brown and see what he's working on. So he's got 3 clients, and so I go to Centerville. Let me see what projects he's working on for this client. And I can see that he's working on 2 projects, and I can see how his time is allocated on those projects.
That is super impressive. I mean, wow, that is really nice. And not that drill down just blew me away. Because right here, the story is Percy looks like he's busy for the next couple of weeks, and then he doesn't have a whole lot, so he's going to have to start, considering some other things. But not only that, you can actually figure out what it is that he's working on.
Right.
Yeah, very impressive.
Right. And the pivot grid, it provides a ton of functionality. And again, this is not a financial application, financial use of the financial data. This is all days per week, basically. And it's worked out great. So, if I want to say, okay, this is for management, but if I want to say, okay, well, let me see, I don't really care what the person's doing. I want to see how much time we're spending by project on a particular client, or how many days per week we're spending on a project. I can just drop these other fields up here, and I can just look at the project. So this gives me a sum of how many days per week per project we're spending, regardless of the person.
Yes, very nice.
And that was it's really nice for the reporting. And I've used the grid exporters up here, the PDF,
Ooh,
Excel,
cool.
and HTML exporters, and they work great. They're really fast, and it just works.
What kind of feedback have you gotten on this particular layout with the pivot grid?
Oh, they love it. They love it.
I can imagine.
It's not the same as a regular grid view, but it's intuitive. They just have to be shown once how to use it, and everyone can figure it out. And so much of the functionality is built in, like the filtering. If I don't want to see one of the weeks, if I want to leave out the week of 8/22, I can do it, and it's gone.
Nice.
So it's
Nice.
really, really nice. So let me move on to the availability report, and this is sort of an inverse of forecast. So forecast shows what people are doing, what time they have committed, where forecast shows what they have available. So the purpose of this report is, say I'm looking at starting the week of September 19th, I need some people that have 4 days a week. So I can go over to minimum number of days and select 4. And then it's only the people that have that time available are going to be highlighted in green.
Nice.
And again, I can select different starting weeks.
I can tell you, your project managers and management itself will probably just loves this tool, right? Because it really visualizes how you can allocate resources.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's been very useful for them.
Yeah, you should be proud. You should be definitely proud. So go on. I'll let you continue.
Let me go to some of the company admin. Well, these other, I can spend a lot of time going over this, but these are just the history of all the expenses, and these are, just a big grid of history.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Where I can filter. I created my own filters here and export, and then I can look at all the details of these expenses. And I also have, I don't know if it's on this page. No. Let's see. So I'm using the same thing here for expense reporting, another pivot grid. And here I added a feature for pre-configured reports. So we have 2 different types of invoice prep reports by the month, and it'll reconfigure the grid dynamically, so it shows every month of the year. And then some people need it by the week, so an invoice prep by the week, so it shows the weekly expenses down here. So it was pretty straightforward to use the pivot grid's callbacks and reconfigure it dynamically.
That's very slick. I like that.
Thanks. All right, let's go to company admin. And this is where back office stuff, where we manage clients and projects. This is pretty straightforward, just as you would expect.
So is that built right into the current site, and you just manage it with roles? So it's not like a separate website to manage this site as well?
No, everything's built into here.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, it's all one application.
Nice.
So if I want to add a project, I use templates in the grid views edit row, and I can select which client, and then add a project and select there's default billing manager and select a project manager. And we have all different types like how we bill and a description. Let's see what else. Then project staffing. Pretty much everybody gets access to project staffing. And here I've used a detail row with a grid built into the detail row.
Nice. I really like the look of that master detail. So did you just paint that template to a certain background?
Yes, exactly.
Nice. That's, yeah. I think I'm going to have to steal some of these design decisions that you got here. Like I said, I'm impressed with them.
Oh, thanks. So it's really easy to add someone to a project. Uses again in the detail grid. Uses an edit form template. Select the person, and then I can view that person's forecast. So when I want to schedule when they're going to be on there, I can get a quick view of their forecast right here and see what they're scheduled for. This person's scheduled for nothing, so I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, and you've got a little modal pop up and everything.
Yep. So let's see. And then we manage members or our consultants and then our subcontractors as well. And that's all pretty straightforward as you would expect it to be.
Nice, very nice.
Let me go to, let me log out and log in as a different person again.
Sure thing. Now, while I see you're using Chrome here, but do you have any issues with running it in different browsers?
No, the browser support has been great, even on the mobile devices.
Yeah, yeah.
That was another thing before I started using DevEx controls. I would get something working, and then on one browser, it wouldn't be working properly, and some of the versions of IE have these 3 and 6 and 9 pixel bugs, and I don't have to worry about those alignment bugs. I don't have to worry about any of that.
Yes, our team is very familiar with them because we do extensive testing. So yes, I'm glad to hear that it's working in the real world very well for you.
It does. It works great. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. Google Docs. What did that come from?
That's an item. We're eventually going to tie this portal into people's Google Documents because we use Google Documents a lot.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So this will just give people access to their documents right through our portal. But there's nothing there yet.
Got you. But are you going to integrate like the doc format from the grid view or something like that? Exporting from the grid view, you mean, or the grid?
Actually, I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
Okay. Gotcha.
I know that Google provides an API for accessing their documents, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do the access yet. I haven't thought about it yet.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'll have to ask you eventually what you did with it because it sounds kind of interesting.
So the portal administration, I can show you a couple things here. So I have a back-end way to manage users. It gives me a little more detail and insight into the users.
Oh, okay.
And what was I going to show you here? Notifications. So we have different types of notifications. So I have an event type and then an event description. And this is pretty cool. I think it is anyway. So, and here lists the subscribers. So I used an edit form template. So if I want to edit this request to add new client notification, I click edit and I put a combo box in here. It's actually the, I think you call it the drop down list edit.
Yeah.
So here I can just select somebody and close it and then click done. And they show up here as a subscriber.
Very cool.
So I really liked how I was able to customize the grid to do that. It makes it really easy to use.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, you got a grid view with the edit form template and a drop-down edit with checkboxes. That's impressive.
Yeah, it uses the combo box with the drop-down template and a list box inside of that, I believe. And a lot of that combination, I think there's a demo on your website about how to do it.
Yeah. By the way, you can also, I believe, use the grid lookup control, which has a similar functionality.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's like I said. First of all, it's working right now, and it looks very good. So unless you need anything extra from the grid lookup, I probably wouldn't bother.
Yeah, I don't have time to change it. And then I'll just show you this expense categories real quick. So this uses the tree list, I believe, the ASPX tree list. And so I can specify expenses and which type of expense they get applied to, whether it's a HIMformatics expense, a client expense, whether a description field is required. And
I like what you did there. You flipped around because traditionally, those let's say actions would be on the left, and some of those, But I liked how you've got that kind of flipped around, and it's a nice little visual cue.
Thanks. Yeah, for some reason I like the actions on the right. Maybe because I'm left-handed. I don't know.
Oh, that's what it is. Ah, okay. So you just think differently. I gotcha.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see what else. So that's about what I have to show, I think. Oh, and I have an event log I can show you too, which uses this is a grid as well, and with the filtering.
Oh, very nice. I see. So, by the way, what are you using to log those actions? Are you using like some kind of library, Log4net or something like that?
Using Log4net, yep.
Oh, excellent. Okay, that was. Now, was it hard to integrate a lot of that stuff in there?
No.
Okay. Well.
No, it wasn't hard. And this particular page, no. This page was one of the easiest to do. So I'm not doing any editing on this page. I'm just reading a log really. And then I have some filters for what type of events I want to see. If I just want portal events, or I actually use NHibernate, so I can show NHibernate events, or all events.
Wow.
So it was pretty simple to configure the grid to do this.
That's very impressive. Now let me ask this. What would you estimate? Do you feel that with this approach that you used, first of all, you have a fast, useful website that's good looking, but did it save you time using any third-party libraries?
It saved me a ton of time. To put a number on it, with the identical functionality, including all this, the filtering that's built into the grids, that I don't have to do anything to get these filters. I mean, it's just there for you.
Because you mentioned before that when you were using just standard controls and stuff from Microsoft, that you don't get that functionality built in.
No, not at all. You have to add it all, and it's all through the Ajax toolkit or some other add-on, and it takes a lot of time. And this was straightforward. I mean, easily the grid work alone, probably took me 25-30% of the time that would have taken to do it without DevEx control. So what I could do in a day would probably take me almost a week for identical functionality. So it really does save a lot of time. Not to mention that just the support forms alone, if you can't do something, these are very well laid out support forms, I think, and it's easy to find what you need. Whereas when I was using the standard controls, there are just a gazillion sites, and every time you search, you do a Google search, and you might get the same thread on 10 different sites, and there's no real credibility to them. So it was a lot harder to find answers that I needed using the standard controls.
I'm super impressed, Mike, and I want to thank you very much for showing this site as well. So we've got you've done that excellent written case study that has some of these screenshots and talks a little bit more about some of these screens. So we'll definitely link to it. Now, are you open to maybe taking any questions? Or would you be willing to maybe put your email, or do you have a blog or Twitter or something that people can contact you with?
My email would be fine. I don't have a blog or Twitter that I use regularly except to follow you.
Mike, thank you again. And like I said, once you get that Google Docs integrated, maybe if you're up for it, maybe I can get you to write a little guest post on our site to talk about what it was like.
Sure, that sounds good.
Excellent. Mike, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Now, as we saw, Mike has really built a visually stunning website using DevExpress ASP.NET products. If you'd like to learn more, go to devexpress.com, check out the demos or the free trial. Thanks for watching.